Green Country Baits, we're back. We've had an influx of a lot of custom orders. I appreciate all of the recommendations of paint patterns. Some really cool ones you guys have suggested to me, and I will get to those. But while I'm doing these custom orders, I gotta get them done firsthand, and we've got a pile of old pre-wrap wiggle warts here, so we're gonna do a little series. Some of these are remakes of patterns I've done but need reshot. A lot of them are completely custom. So if you like seeing wiggle wart patterns, stick around for this little short series, and let's go spray some paint. All right, first pattern up is the old famous green Phantom Craw, one of the best Clearwater wiggle wart patterns out there. I mean, and I really favor the brown one as well, but this green one is super. This is an original, and so this is what we are basically recreating onto this. And this customer's requested a couple of regular size and a magnum wiggle wart here. So not going to show all three, or do not plan to. So let's get right to it. These patterns go quick because really we're not doing a lot of paint. And so let's get the airbrush fired up. And first thing we're going to do is mix up our green. With this green, we want it fairly dark. Let me get it. We're going to go moss green. Now I got to get these mixed up. We're going to do a moss green and a sepia with just a touch of black. And really when we spray the black on the back, we'll let a little of that fall down into the sides, and that'll help darken it up as well. So I'm going to do a good job of getting those mixed together. I've been getting a lot of questions on from some new airbrush artists, and they ask if I reduce my paint. So I wanted to show this. I mean, that paint right there is so thick that it's really not dripping off the end of the brush. And so the answer to the question is absolutely. And again, I can get this to spray fine and it will lay down pretty good on this bait. But if you're doing any kind of detail work, then you need to go with some 4011 reducer. And I usually add a little bit to paint, excuse me, 3 or 4 drops to that batch of paint right there, just to get it to spray a little more consistent, atomize better. It lays down a whole lot better. So all we got on this green is in the top half of the bait, okay? And it doesn't matter, you know, even the originals had a little bit of that green when they sprayed it on the top of that lip, but we're basically going to guide that green down halfway down the bait. And these older wiggle warts that are really dark, excuse me, let me let that air compressor stop. When you use these are old originals that I've sandblasted all the paint off, and obviously they had a clear lip so we could do the Phantoms with them. It's not going to take as much of this green to get to the color we're looking for on these particular bodies because they're older, the plastic's darkened. If you get some crystal clear baits, you'll have to add a few more coats to that. But I'm still going to lay down 2 coats of that particular color on that bait. Okay. And really, the only other colors we got is a fluorescent yellow, or excuse me, fluorescent orange. So for the spots on the side, I'm just going to add a little of this transparent orange. To it, but for my bill paint, I'm going to do the fluorescent. And we're just tipping the bait, tipping the edge of that bill. And it'll take 2 to 3 coats to get it to the darkness you want it. And it looks like I need to thin that a little bit. You see how when I dried that orange really lightened up, lost a little bit of its luster. Last color, well, not the last. I mean, we still got, this is just our black crawl markings. All our paints are pretty thick today. You definitely want to thin this black out. And I'll give you guys an idea of how much I'm thinning it. Hope you can see that. When you touch it, you may not can see this, to the sides of the airbrush you can. All right, so we're going to add our crawl pattern on. First, we're just going to add a little bit of this collar. And then we'll come back and lay that first crawl plate in. Now this customer liked my pattern rather than the original, which I can do with a particular stencil that I have, but it's not super dark and overpowering. Again, a little bit of a collar here. Around the eye. And then we'll lay in our first plate. Turn our pressure back up. I had that down to around 15, maybe 18 pounds. And we'll hit the orange just a little bit more on this side especially. And we got a good flow. And the next, we want a bright red. In this situation, I'm going to use just that, bright red. Now, you can come back over with a little white if you'd like for that red to stand out, but and if you haven't seen this, this is kind of how I do my wiggle wart eyes. I generally use this one. I don't know what size that bad boy is. Looks like 9.5 millimeters, something like that. Make sure you ain't got any. And I just lay down my red. And again, I'm going to take a few coats to get it where we want. Don't spray too heavily. Let it lay on there and dry it in. And your second and third coat will go a lot quicker. Red's set for just a bit. We're going to go ahead and add some of our orange spots to the side, and I'm just using the end of a paintbrush, and we just got some little dots. Little dots to the underside. Come back with a little more of the red, darken that up just a little bit, and we should be setting in a good place for this Phantom Craw. Finish things off. Oh. Man. What's going on with my paint here? I know this, I got it all over me. Come down our back with a little of that black. Darken that up just a little bit. And there you have the old original pre-wrap wiggle wart color, v86, I believe was the number for it, Phantom Green Craw. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, I challenge you to hit the like button. And by all means, leave comments. Those interactions really help the channel. We're still trying to grow this thing after 3 or 4 years. And we appreciate that. And I try to always answer all of those comments that you guys leave. We're here to help. If you like this pattern, stick around to the end. Make sure you see the color, the clear coat pictures. It'll really draw out a lot of those colors, and it'll clean up and clear up this body of this particular old pre-wrap wart. Till next week, Green Country Baits, signing out.